Gorgeous, stunning, beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh, I love it. It's unbelievable. Hi everyone, welcome back to Complicated Things. This is a good friend of mine. Her name is Andie Markoe-Byrne, and we came up together in the industry as little babies about, I don't know, a couple of years ago.
A couple of decades ago.
Now, why Andie's here today is that one of the things a lot of photographers don't understand very well in the beginning of their career, or like me towards the end of my career, is how to guide a makeup artist to make the shots that either you want or the client wants. Now, this might seem simple, but it's not. The language you use and the lighting that you use can make all the difference between you really getting that shot that you want and something just okay. Now, Andie's been doing makeup for many, many years, and I thought it'd be brilliant to ask her a few basic questions about what she wants to hear from you to make your makeup good. What do you want to hear?
I think the number one thing is communication about the lighting. I think as a makeup artist and when you're working with a photographer, you need to communicate with the photographer to understand what they're achieving and how they're lighting things, because the first shot of the day is going to pop up on the monitor and you're going to see it for the first time, and so is the client.
So let's say that today, for instance, we're going to shoot a beautiful young lady. Now, we had the luxury of deciding what we wanted to do, but we did have a conversation. I said, Andie, how do you want the light to look? Because I want this to be really about showing off Andie's skills. And she said, it has to be specular. Okay, so that communicates to me that I need silver. I don't need white, I need silver to get specular highlights. How often do you run into the situation where you see lighting and go, uh-oh?
Pretty often, pretty often. I think the thing that will happen to someone like myself is I'll be hired to do a skin campaign, and the focus is on healthy, glowing skin, and you walk in and you realize everything is going to be flat. Why light is so important is a photographer has an ability to zoom an image, I don't know how many percent, 600%. You can see everything, every pore, everything. So for a makeup artist, when you're working in that capacity, the light is your best friend because it's going to shape things, it's going to blur things or not blur things or highlight things or accent things. So I think when the photographer says like the skin is the focus today, or I'm going to heavily side lighted, then you're going to have a bag under one eye if it's too high.
At what point in your career do you have the
balls to say something?
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like,
I think,
because you're often probably way more experienced than these young shooters you're working with.
Yes.
And you know more.
Yes. I think for the first 10 years, I probably was just very quiet and just sort of watched everything. And when I was an assistant, I got to work with Avedon and Marche and all these incredible photographers. And
so you weren't saying, Dickie, could you bring your light down a little
definitely
bit?
Not. I was definitely silent and in the corner, sitting on my hands folded, just being as play. I would never say anything, of course. But as you've watched, hundreds of photographers set up their lights and the masters versus a new kid that's been shooting on their phone, I mean, it's a vast array of difference in what you see on a daily basis. And now there's lots of young photographers and people are extraordinarily talented, but also sometimes you realize they're one-trick ponies and they can do one thing, but maybe they don't know how to do something else that more seasoned people do.
If you find yourself in a position to have somebody on your set who knows what they're doing, take as much from them as you can.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got this young lady coming in. When she comes in, we're going to show you Andie and I having a chat and discussing what we're going to do. So see you over at the makeup station. This is lovely Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
You're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Andie, what a face. What are we going to do? It's beautiful. Do we need to do anything? See, this is my problem, right? I would say we don't need anything. She's perfect. Let's go.
So as a makeup artist, hearing that, that's a really important thing that young makeup artists need to learn. Don't mess up the girls. In a case like Sarah with such a gorgeous face, I literally am just going to move a very small amount of things around. And it's that like detailed perfection to make his amazing before picture even better.
My only direction is keep it light, keep it simple, keep it glowy.
Perfect.
And can we shape the eye a little more? Would you do
Absolutely.
that? Can we watch?
Yeah, please
Excellent.
do.
So Andie, what's first?
I'm just going to use a little toner on her and just freshen her skin up. I always do the works. I have this great lifting eye cream. The more hydrated the skin is, also the less things are going to stick funny. Depending on the effect you want, sometimes I just do serums, sometimes I do face oils. It depends on the kind of skin. I feel like the base of the moisturizer will actually dictate what type of skin you're going to be accomplishing. So we're doing a little of this. So this is basically like a watery liquid with a teeny bit of pigment in it that's going to keep the integrity of her skin. So as you can see, I've moisturized her, and this is basically another moisturizer, but with the teeniest bit of tone. I don't use heavy-handed foundations at all for photography. So the advantage of tinted moisturizer is you're keeping the integrity of the skin perfectly, and then you can just spot conceal, but you can give her a little something all over. You shouldn't be able to see it to the naked eye. If you've done your job right in broad daylight, they should look amazing. If they look like they have a giant face full of makeup in broad daylight, you've done a terrible job. Try again. The other thing that a lot of people don't think about and don't often do is skin textures. So there's like the teeniest bit of fuzz, which every human being has. Everybody has. If I put powder in this, that would be the number one thing your eye would go to in the monitor, and the photographer would find that later and I would be scolded. So you really want to work with like invisibility as much as possible as your best friend. All right, and we're moving on to concealer. So concealer is also very important. Personally, I love the Chanel one. I go very light-handed with it. So I'm literally just going to take a little bit of the darkness out, but it's not like an Instagram amount of YouTube. I don't need to like slather the whole bottle all over her face. A teeny little bit does more than enough. So if you can see the difference between this eye and this eye. So I've just added a little bit of brightness and I've just given her a little bit of evenness, but she still looks like her. The very important rule is if you want to do dramatic eyes or a dramatic lip, because some people love that, which is fine, you have to keep the skin clean. As long as the skin is beautiful and undetectable, you can get away with pretty much anything. So if you look at Sarah right now, she looks exactly like she did when she came in, except I've cleaned up the slight imperfections. I want to talk about my favorite thing, which is contour and highlight. So this is my equivalent of what a photographer does. So this is the only thing I have in my arsenal to shape someone's face. This is a really cool trick. So this is basically my sculpting light. So I'm going to take something like this that looks completely crazy, right? So I'm going to take the parts of her face that I want to reshape. So I'm just going to give her like a teeny little bit, and everybody thinks like Kardashians. People have been doing this since the dawn of time, way before the Kardashians. This is not a Kardashian trick. So you think, oh my God, she just drew lines all over this woman's face.
Did the Kardashians not take it from...
They took it from drag queens.
Drag queens, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look. Right now, I've just chiseled what I want to chisel in her face for Mark's light. So you think this looks crazy. I'll tell you why it's not crazy. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take my highlight, which is also where I want the light to focus, and I'm going to literally seam this down. And this is going to become an invisible contour on her face that you're actually not going to really see, but I've shaped her face. So when the light hits it, the shadow is going to hit that hollow. The light is going to hit my highlight, and it's going to give her that dimension that I'm looking for in her face. So I'm adding a lot of luminosity to her cheekbones.
Is luminosity the white powder?
Yes, is the white part. So this, if you turn your face, turn that way one sec.
Oh, wow.
So if you see Sarah, so all
God.
of your shape of your light is going to hit this, and all of your sparkly part of your light is going to hit this highlight. And so it's going to give her that extra depth. So I've placed of face gloss in all the places that I want the focus to be on Sarah's face. So I want to have like a beautiful twinkling glossy eye. I want to have beautiful highlights on her cheek, on her cupid's bow. I did a little down the center of her nose. So that's my way of reshaping faces for the light. I'm going to curl her eyelashes now. Are you cool with me doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is some kind of medieval torture. My wife has one of these.
Yeah. So this is when, if there's no blood, you've done good. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. Makeup humor. Actually, I'm going to show you with mascara just on this one eye. So it completely changes somebody's face. So all of a sudden people get very, very pretty as soon as you put mascara on them. And also depending on like how you do your mascara, if you go really heavy, it can be like super rock and roll, and like clumpy can be cool. But all those things are a statement and a decision, not an accident. Sarah basically, as far as I'm concerned, doesn't really look like she's been touched. But for a super clean, natural look,
Stunning.
this is where I would leave her. So let's shoot some pictures and see how we did.
So Andie, this is the first photo with your makeup. It is unbelievable. I'm just going to bring up the before and the after so you guys can see them. Before, after. It's beautiful. You haven't, as you said, you've made it look like there's no makeup, which is what I love. So at this point, I'm ready to shoot, but I would always, as a courtesy, say, final checks.
Final checks. And so that's where you have your moment of OCD as a makeup artist, and you look at the image. Actually, this is my favorite part, is when the first shot pops up, because that's when you see all the collab come together. So as you can see, Mark is checking. You have to be so incredibly detailed. Like there's one natural eyelash that's pointing down. You're going to see that, which actually I need to fix. So you're going to see every possible thing. The reason that you go so light-handed with things is because photography is so unforgiving of mistakes, to be really honest. So if you look at her lips, there's no like bad lip line, or I haven't done the shape right, or any of that type of stuff, because he's gonna see everything. I also wanna point out on the little bit of imperfections, Mark, do you mind going into some of this stuff? Because I haven't heaped a ton of product on there, when he wants to go in, even the very little bit of stuff I did, you can see it. So if I went heavier handed, he would have nothing to clone from to correct these little spots.
Yeah, it would be a disaster. That's very, very super easy to fix. And we'll probably do an episode on how to fix that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's stunning.
Awesome. So I'm going to do my final
checks.
checks and then we can shoot.
While Andie's doing that, I just want to tell you a little bit about the light I'm using today. I've got a Profoto head with a Rotolux, Elinchrom Rotolux Deep Small Octa, I think it's called. And the reason I'm using that, because it's silver inside. So that silver is giving me these very pretty specular highlights. Now, because Andie mentioned Avedon a little earlier on, I've got my Avedon flag here. And if you just focus on Sarah a sec, you can see that I can just bring this flag in or out. And it's kind of a nice soft. It's not too close. And I can just do that little Avedon thing that flags the light from the top of the head. Beautiful. Give me some faces. Wow, that's it. Beautiful. Light eyes up big. Gorgeous.
Mark, this is what I'm loving. So this pretty highlight that I put in, your light perfectly captured and like gave her this like beautiful brightness on her face and luminosity. So it's amazing when you work with a really amazing photographer at how they've just like shaped the light, and it's so good for Sarah's face. And she just looks amazing. I'm very happy.
All right, folks, we're loving this. I'm going to try something. I'm going to pop a little gold back into the underneath, see if I can get a little hit in the eyes. Andie, we are assistantless, so you're in charge of gold fill. Let's try this, guys. Wow. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. Chin up. Okay, beautiful. Wow. Oh, I love the gold.
Mark,
Andy,
you know-
look at that.
So gorgeous. I've never actually seen a gold card. I've only seen silver cards.
Yeah, I was going to use a silver, but to be honest, I couldn't find one, so I thought I'd use a gold.
I thought this was some new master trick. I was like, I've never seen this in
Well,
my 28 years.
That's how master tricks happen. Okay, so Andy, you and I both love black and white.
Yeah!
So we see how it looks.
Gorgeous.
So I made a quick conversion to black and white, and I'm going to shoot some frames, and I feel so much more comfortable already. All right, Sarah Lera, just feel the light. There we go, make sure you can feel it. There we go, wow. Chin up that little bit, there we go, beautiful.
Yeah.
Sarah, you are an absolute joy to work with.
Oh, so beautiful.
You think we got it?
I think so.
Do you feel good? Do you feel like we got something cool? You want to come look?
Folks, this is Sarah. She's an actress. She's a beautiful model as well. She looks amazing. Her Instagram handle is...
At Elizabeths, HELIZABETHS, Elizabeths.
Check her out.
Book her for everything.
Book her for everything. Check her out. Wow. I love that.
It's a good day. It was a really good day. I'm super happy. I think the best part of this business is the new picture feeling. You know, when you
Right.
like make a new amazing image and then you're like so stoked. It's so satisfying. I think it's the thing that, you know, when you really find somebody's face and they look like the most amazing you could possibly imagine them and you capture it, that is why I keep coming back day after day.
So all you young photographers out there, get yourself good makeup artists, work with them, collaborate, and make beautiful photos. Thanks, Andie Markoe-Byrne.
Thanks, Mark Mann.
See you next time.